We've had a long friendship. We haven't spent a lot of time together, but my greatest joy is to help people. And so when I meet a woman who is now in a situation with an unplanned pregnancy, I want to help her find a solution. And her decision is to give the baby life. And now she's trying to figure out the future of her child. She has a lot of options, and adoption is one of those options.
Welcome to another episode of Jim Merritt's Indiana. Everybody knows that the Roe v. Wade decision has been struck down by the Supreme Court. One of the issues I believe that should march to the fore is adoption. I think that we need more adoptions going on in the state of Indiana and the country as a whole. One of my lifelong friends is Kirsh. He has put together so many families through his law practice of kirsh and kirsh that I wanted to talk to him about what the impact might be from this law. We know the legislature of the state of Indiana hasn't acted yet, and it's a 20-week situation in a crisis situation of someone being pregnant, and the legislature is poised to deal with that sometime in July. But what I want to talk to you, Joel, about is your life. You've dedicated your life to adoptions, and it must feel great to put together a family. Idea how many families that you've kind of united and brought together.
We've handled, I work with my brother Steve, older brother Steve, my nephew Grant, who is Steve's son, and my younger brother Rob. So there's 4 adoption attorneys here, probably collectively over the last 40 plus years of total handling adoptions. We probably helped out with about 4,000 newborn adoptions.
Wow.
Several thousand step-parent and family adoptions. Grant, who is my nephew, handles a lot of DCS, foster care adoptions. So I would say probably close to 10,000 adoptions over the last 40 years collectively. So it is, for me, very rewarding emotionally. I'm not an adversarial person, it's been a perfect fit.
You know, when couples are trying to figure out, they cannot have children for some medical reason or not, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to live their days. And one of those, maybe it's an infertility problem. Maybe they want to adopt. How do you address that when a couple comes in your office and want to grow a family?
Well, I say I'm part lawyer, part counselor.
Yes.
I do not have any expertise in counseling, but I always, and when I do public presentations, I always talk about the 2 C's when you work with someone. You want to be competent and you want to be compassionate. And I feel that the competence is really important in the area of adoption because there's so many things that can go wrong legally, but you also have to take off your attorney hat and you have to be a person. And you have to realize that this family that's coming to us who can't have children is at the height of their emotions. They want to start a family or grow their family. They don't have the physical ability to do that, so they're looking at all the options. Conversely, when I'm working with a woman who's faced with an unplanned pregnancy, I have to have that same compassion. I know she did not plan to be in this situation. She's faced with a crisis in her life. She's looking for answers. I have children of my own, and I tell lots of moms that are faced with unplanned pregnancies that I'm talking to you like a lawyer, but I'm also talking to you like a dad. And I would give this same advice, that you didn't plan to be in this situation, so you're trying to find the best answer. And adoption is a great option. It doesn't make it the right answer all the time, but it gives you a great option.
Now, for someone that cannot physically have children, they not immediately, but they probably gravitate towards adoption. The expense of adoption versus the idea of in vitro, is that something that I know you're not a doctor, but those are issues, those are options. Are those the type of factors that you talk to people about in their life-changing times here?
Absolutely. Infertility is a great option if it works. Unfortunately, there's not a guarantee that it can work, I'm not sure, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what the exact percentages are. So when they're faced with the expense of infertility versus adoption, they have to weigh their options. The expense of infertility is high. The expense of professional, legal, competent, compassionate help in the area of adoptions can be high. But also there's ways to offset that. So a lot of employers, for example, Eli Lilly here in Indianapolis, I believe offer $12,000 to $15,000 of reimbursement of expenses for employees that adopt. This is the city of Carmel, for example.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The city of Carmel offers, I believe, $5,000. If their employee adopts, they'll reimburse $5,000 of the expense. There's also a tax credit. So the IRS offers a tax credit. If your adjusted gross income is below a certain level, they'll offer a tax credit of up to almost $14,000. There's adoption grants. There's ways to offset the cost of adoption that may not be available in the infertility arena.
That's something that I did not know, because if we're going to be pro-life, if the country has struck down Roe v. Wade, there just has to be other avenues, and we have to encourage life. Now, nephew Grant is in the business with you, and he deals with the government with foster care, and right now there are about 7,500 kids in foster care in the state of Indiana, and so I would imagine Grant has quite a practice going there, and you talk about unique. And you talk about sensitive, but precious, and I'm sure he has quite a practice going on himself.
Oh, he does a great job. He has become the professional to go to for foster care, foster to adoptions. He does a great job. He makes it very personal. He buys, or he has backpacks for each of the kids with their names on them. With COVID, we've missed a lot of personal interaction with the courts, but now we're returning back to court. He makes it special. He brings balloons and stuff for the kids, so he does.
That's just very, very meaningful.
Yes.
You know, adoption is just such an emotional. You don't want to call it a transaction, but it's a situation. It's legal, but it's emotional, and it's for life. And Joel, talk to us a little bit about how you embrace that, and in some examples, not real life names because we can't talk about it, but talk about being at the helm of something like that.
Okay, and my greatest joy is to help people.
Can you give our audience a little bit of the emotional? We don't want any names, but a situation that really tugged at your heartstrings.
I have one actually involved two older children. They were
older children.
Yeah, nieces and they were a niece and a nephew of a single man, and his sister was the biological mother, and she passed away of cancer less than 2 years ago, and he took on the responsibility of taking care of these kids, and to me that was the most joyful, tearful. I mean, even the judge who heard the case had tears in his eyes. So that to me was probably the most memorable recently.
What about the receiving family? You know, they've been waiting so long and anticipating this moment, and the stress, the pressure, and the glory. They're expecting happiness and growth in their family. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you're right. They've come to us, and some family have waited 2, 3, 4, 5 years for the gift of being able to be a parent. You and I have experienced it, but this is a family who's been through the struggles of infertility. They've been through the struggles of probably miscarriages, other emotional issues, and I talk about the greatest joy of helping people, but my true greatest joy is for someone to walk in the door after they've taken custody of the baby and just come and thank us and give us a hug and want to take pictures with us. I didn't do anything. I'm not the strong one here. It's the mom who made
that courage.
Yeah, the courage to make the decision to go through a pregnancy, knowing that she wasn't going to parent the baby, but to be able to plan for the child's future. And for that family to come in, I can remember one situation. It was a Friday afternoon, and it had been a long week, and I was pretty much ready to be out of the office. And my assistant walks in and says, "There's someone here that wants to see you." And I was like, "Oh, not today. Probably had a baseball."
Where's that back door?
So anyway, I walked up, and it was a 20-year-old kid. And he said, "Mr. Kirsh, you've not met me. Actually, you did meet me at the time I was born. But I just wanted to come in and thank you for helping me find my mom and dad." And I had tears in my eyes. And he gave me a big hug, and I said, "I know it's late on a Friday, but I was driving by, I saw your name, and I said, I just have to stop in and thank him." So that made a tired Friday afternoon probably one of the best Friday afternoons ever.
It's quite an impression, quite a feeling.
All right, well, I just want you to know that I've spent the last 35 years helping people, and it has been my life's work, my professional work, but it's been a personal, emotional path for me. And I just want you to know, if you're faced with an unplanned pregnancy, you're not sure where to turn, you do have options. You can always call us. There's no cost to you. There's no judgment. You can reach out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's somebody here to help, and we'll talk to you. We'll explain your options. We'll answer all of your questions. You can reach us anytime, and we're here to help.